Yo, was just rocking out to some Merciful Fate, and then I remember that I still have to finish up all my reviews of the remaining Halloween films. I did parts 1, 2, and 4 a long time ago. Then yesterday I did parts 3 and 5, so I'm going to finish up all the remaining entries that I never got to, even though I did talk about all of them in my early Halloween ranking video. So check all those out if you haven't already. So today obviously we're going to be talking about Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, the 6th entry in the series, the original theatrical version, and the notorious producer's cut. Now, this is the 6th movie, and I've never really liked this movie a whole lot. It's not great. It's okay. It's an improvement over Part 5, I think. And for years it was probably my 4th favorite after 1, 2, and 4. But I don't know. It's either Curse of Michael Myers or H2O would be my 4th favorite. I kind of have a new appreciation for H2O, though I still have the same problems with it that I always have. Okay. Well, let's talk about both versions. I just got to do both of them in one video. I don't think they're different, but I don't think they're different enough to really have their own episode, really. And I apologize, there's a few things I don't remember which version had and which version didn't have, so I might get them mixed up a little bit, but, so I apologize. Again, I haven't watched this movie a whole lot because, I never really liked it a whole lot. The only ones I really love and think are excellent are 1, 2, and 4, again. So, there's kind of like a huge drop between the first 3, my top 3, and then, all the rest. There's kind of a huge decline, a huge dent in my ranking. When it comes to, which version's the best, everybody on the face of the planet, every horror fan I've ever talked to, ever prefers the unrated producer's cut. And I would too, if not for 3 big things, 3 major flaws that ruin it for me, that keep me from liking it. And that's the fact that it's highly suggested that Jamie Lloyd, previously played by Danielle Harris, she's all grown up now, played by, I don't even know, I forget the actress's name. Edie Panabaker or something. I don't know. I forget because I don't care. She's all grown up. She doesn't last very long. Myers kills her off pretty early on in different ways too, which she dies differently in each version. I might add. So that's one difference. Her death's a little more brutal in the unrated version, but most people kind of prefer the subtle death and the theatrical. It's one thing people prefer it on. But anyway, the 3 big flaws. It's heavily implied that Michael Myers rapes her and impregnates her, rapes her own niece. She has a baby in this movie, and in this one, the baby's supposed to be Myers. So not only is that his son, it's also his nephew, great nephew, and now he's an incestuous rapist. Okay, Michael Myers is a dark, evil, sadistic murderer, a psychopath who lacks a conscience. He's not a rapist. He's not incestuous. I don't even want to see him having sexual intercourse. It's not what his character's all about. He doesn't do those things. He's not he's not into that stuff. He's not normal. And I'm not saying that rape or incest is normal. It's definitely not. But he's not. He may be a killer, but he's not a trashy, deadbeat degenerate. He's not like some white trash hick. That's just sick. And I know he's the bad guy, he's the evil one, but that really ruins the character for me, and I have to take a lot of points off the unrated cut. You could say that that's the same thing that's true for theatrical, but it's not implied as heavily. It's all the scenes with the cult and stuff, and after they kidnap Jamie at the end of Part 5, the Man in Black, his identity is revealed in this movie too, by the way. I didn't really care that much. It's actually turned out to be, I'll go ahead and spoil it. You've probably already seen the movie. It's Dr. Wynn. He had a small part in the first movie, too. Yeah, Dr. Wynn. He's played by a different actor. He's the leader of the cult, the Druids that control Michael Myers. And that brings me to the second flaw. Aside from Michael Myers being Uncle Daddy in this movie, which really kills it for me, he's controlled by a cult. I know he's controlled by them in both versions. It's all about the Druids, and he's just a pawn in their scheme in both versions. But it's even worse in this one. He's even more controlled. I do like how he's a little more mysterious here. He's kept in the shadows. He has a little less screen time. They film more footage for him in the theatrical version when they changed everything. He's played again by George P. Wilbur, who played him in Part 4, who does a good job, way better than Don Shanks from the 5th film. He's controlled by the Druids, and he's defeated by somebody putting a circle of stones on the floor. Michael Myers is defeated by stones, and he freezes and he can't move. So yeah, that's strike two. So yeah, I don't care for that. And then strike three. While I do like how you see a lot more of Dr. Loomis, played by Donald Pleasance in this movie, that's a great thing. More of Loomis is always a good thing. I don't like the ending where the tattoo of the thorn magically appears on his hand and he screams, and now he's like the new leader of the cult. He's like the new keeper of Michael Myers, and he's evil now. No, no, I'm sorry. That's unacceptable. That's inexcusable. No, that's strike three. So those main three reasons are what keep me liking this one over this one. Now, if it wasn't for those three things, I would like this one the best, but I prefer the theatrical because, yes, while Michael Myers is kind of suggested that he's Uncle Daddy, it's not, mentioned outright, so I just pretend that that's not what happened. Also, he is controlled by the cult, but he's not defeated by stones, and it turns against them at the end. It slaughters them all brutally, and it's awesome. It's like turns out he was in it for himself all along. And he switches places with Dr. Wynn, in that cut, and which is cool. And so he gets away, and then Dr. Wynn's the one you think is Myers. Unmask him, it's Dr. Wynn, and then that cool scene where, Wynn, it's been you, and then that other old lady who was telling the stories of the boogeyman, she's like, hello, dearie, and she's evil too. We don't see what happens to Dr. Loomis in this one when you hear him scream from far away. I think he went back to go check on Michael Myers. And don't get me wrong, the way they defeat him in this one isn't that good, too. I think they, inject him with some kind of poison, and they beat him to death with a stick. Just kind of like the way they captured him at the end of Part 5, and then they took him away. But the Man in Black busted him out. It turns out he's Dr. Wynn. They didn't know that during the time of filming that. But yeah, I don't like the whole thorn thing. I don't like Michael Myers being cursed with some kind of thing that makes him want to kill his family members. I don't like him being controlled by the druids and being part of a cult and just a pawn in their evil scheme, and Dr. Wynn being his master and he's just his henchman. I don't care for that in either version. So yeah, I don't regard this one very highly. However, okay, I think I've talked enough about what I don't like about it. Let's talk about what I do like. I like how the Halloween atmosphere is done in this one. The scenery, the whole fall, the whole feel of it, it's done really well. You really feel the spirit of Halloween in this movie. There's just Halloween decorations and parties and jack-o'-lanterns and stuff like that everywhere. You didn't really feel the Halloween presence as much in the other movies. Sure, there was jack-o'-lanterns on the porches and there was kids trick-or-treating, but I really felt like it was Halloween in this one, and that's what I like, I love Halloween, I love horror movies. When they combine the two, it's just an unstoppable, it's a perfect combination. So they did that part really good. Also, I like the character of the grown-up Tommy Doyle, played by a young Paul Rudd, who went on to play Ant-Man. Yeah, Paul Stephen Rudd. He teams up with one of the Strode family, this young girl who's still in school, but she has a son. She's in an early pregnancy. Now, what happened is, you remember in the first movie how Laurie Strode's father, was a real estate agent. He owned all I guess he owned all those properties, or he was showing them and stuff. And so she went to the Myers house and stuff, the key and everything. Well, it turns out the Strode family moved into the Myers house. How's that for a coincidence? Turns out that Laurie Strode's Michael Myers' sister, and then her family ends up moving into his house. That's pretty cool. But it makes sense because her father was a real estate agent. I used to think that was a bizarre coincidence. Then I thought about it. I was like, oh yeah, her father was the real estate agent. I guess that's her father's brother. I don't know. But so there's an asshole stepdad who has another awesome death scene, which again is different in both versions. I prefer the one in this one, actually, with the head exploding. Or no, I won't give it away. You didn't hear that. I gave away the ending, but I'm not going to give away that awesome kill because it's just freaking cool if you haven't seen it. Sorry if I did give away the ending, but yeah, who cares? It sucks anyway. So yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Halloween. The Curse of Michael Myers. We had the Return of Michael Myers, and the Revenge of Michael Myers, the Curse of Michael Myers, and of course the Affairs of Michael Myers, and so on and so forth. But the Strode girl, I forget her name, and her son, they team up with Tommy Doyle, and he's taking care of Jamie Lloyd's baby. So yeah, all these connections. What a small world. Tommy Doyle, of course, was the kid who Laurie babysat in the first movie. That he's teaming up with a member of her family, her adoptive family, and he's taking care of her grandson. He's taking care of Laurie's grandson, and then how's that for a big coincidence? Some pretty cool characters. That one party guy is all about partying during the concert scene or whatever, the Halloween fest. I like that. I like all that stuff. This movie feels a little too MTV for my taste, though. And I love stuff about like cults and rituals and like witchcraft and stuff. And I like that stuff in Halloween 3: Season of the Witch, which, by the way, a lot of you commented on that video, my review, and said, "Oh, I love this movie so much," and you thought that I really hated it. When I really didn't. I was just critiquing it. I was just being kind of critical, a critical analysis of a movie. I wasn't really giving my opinion. It's still not one of my favorites. I still don't love it, but I do watch it every year, and I enjoy it. It's got a great premise again. But anyway, yeah, Curse of Michael Myers. So I do prefer the theatrical only for those 3 huge sins that this one commits. But both of them have their moments, and you could almost make like an ultimate cut. Take the best things from both movies and put them together, make an even better cut. Delete Michael Myers being an incestuous rapist. Delete him being controlled and defeated by stones. Leave in the scene where he turns on him and starts stabbing them all in that hospital room or whatever it was, because that was awesome. Leave in a few things, but just delete a whole lot of things either. But you know what? I don't think any way you cut it, no matter what version of this movie, even if they did do that, it's still not going to be one of the greatest entries. It's still not going to be one of my favorites. It's kind of towards in the middle with like Halloween 5, though slightly above it. It's kind of mediocre. And as I said, I think these days I might prefer H2O to this one. Now, this movie's way too convoluted. There's way too much going on. Too many chefs pissing in the stew. Too many edits. Too many changes. It just became a mess. It became a complex mess with way too much going on. My problem with H2O is always that it was too simple. However, I think the simplicity actually works in this case, because I think these days I do prefer H2O. Don't get me wrong. I love the way Michael Myers is. He was still pretty badass in this one. He was like an unstoppable Terminator like character as always. He wasn't done horribly like he would be in some of the other movies. He didn't cry like he did in Part 5. And I love the Halloween atmosphere. I love a lot of the kills. That's some of the best deaths. And yeah, and I like this one too. Just those 3 things really bother me. But there were some things that were done better, and it's a shame that they were deleted from the official cut or whatever you want to call it. More of Loomis and some other cool scenes. But as I said, no matter which way you cut it, it's still not a great movie, and it's still like in the middle. It's not one of the worst per se, but it's not one of the best either. Certainly not. The only ones that are really great and truly remarkable are 1, 2, and 4, as I've said many times. But yeah, anyway, I think that about covers it. I don't really think there's anything else I need to mention. If I forgot anything, I'm sorry. If I got the versions mixed up, and sometimes I apologize. I think I did it right there. I think I know which one had which. See, the thing is, I used to have a bootleg of the producer's cut before they released this version on Blu-ray, which I got on Blu-ray now. I had a bootleg, and like it was the theatrical cut, but it was the producer's cut. They added all the scenes for the producer's cut, and every time there was a new scene that wasn't part of the theatrical cut, the quality would get really crappy because it was a bootleg. And actually, it belonged to my former roommate. He let me borrow it. He let me watch it a lot. Of course, we watched it together, and like the quality would drop. So I always knew which scenes were new, and it was so easy to tell which scenes were from which version, because the theatrical looked fine, but then the producer's cut looked really like blurry and like grainy. So I kind of like that though, because then I could tell which ones are the new scenes. Kind of like the director's cut, the uncut version of the original My Bloody Valentine, when all the gory death scenes are restored, but they're really crappy quality. But you know which scenes are new or whatever. Well, not really new, but added. But yeah, anyway. All right. Well, that about does it. Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. I do slightly prefer this version. I realize everybody likes this version, but I understand why people like this version. But again, there's a few things that are just unforgivable. All right, guys. Well, I'm Hellhound, and hope you enjoyed my review. And next, we'll be looking at H2O, which thankfully only has 1 version, so I don't have to compare and contrast and talk about the differences and all that shit. All right, guys. I'm Hellhound. Thank you for watching. Until next time.